Welcome to Sci-Fi Showcase. My name is John R. Hand, and this episode we're going back again into the Pulsing Cinema archive, and we're pulling out a very early Pulsing Cinema show I did on a film which is so goofy that it's utterly lovable, even though it really is a very kind of nasty film and a lot of nasty things happen in it. It's The Incredible Melting Man. It's a very goofy late 70s AIP horror, kind of, I guess it would be considered one of the last, goofy AIP horror films, really. And this is a very early show that I did, very rough around the edges, but I still think it contains a lot of enthusiasm for The Incredible Melting Man. It's still a cult favorite of mine. It's a fun movie to put on a lonely Sunday afternoon. And I hope you enjoy this episode. I was going through some old issues of Starlog today, and I found Starlog 11, and that brought up a film that I'd seen many, many years ago called The Incredible Melting Man, 1977, 78, I don't remember. Starlog 11 was January. Yeah, that was January 77. I'm just looking at it right now. The front cover of it, if you've never seen Starlog 11, I know there are a few of you out there who haven't. It's Rick Baker with fantastic color photos across the top. It says Close Encounters of the Third Kind, The Prisoner Computer Games, the Superman movie, quote unquote, the Superman movie, Incredible Melting Man, and then interviews, The Makeup Men. It was a series of articles profiling various makeup artists, Stuart Freeborn, John Chambers, and Rick Baker on the cover, and he's posing with all the masks and the molds from this upcoming film, The Incredible Melting Man. And I was this is my first exposure to this film. I saw it, and I picked up this issue in a comic book store in the late 90s, and I saw these incredible masks of the guy of the Incredible Melting Man, or TIMM, as I like to call him, Tim. You just got seduced by it. I mean, this is a film which had. I'm flipping through it now, and I'm flipping through the photos. I mean, incredible press stills. We see Alex Rebar. Was that his name? I don't know. Suddenly, as a kid, you're going along, you're going straight, you're going down the path of righteousness, and then suddenly Alex Rebar comes into your life, and he comes in because he's the Incredible Melting Man, and suddenly now you know this guy's name, Burr Benning, and his name is written there in big important letters underneath the title of this incredible film, which had incredible art. I mean, you had Rick Baker's material, and I mean, the promotional material for The Incredible Melting Man is just, I mean, there have been $100 million films which just look like absolute garbage. You have these garbled postmodern posters of faces, but I mean, The Incredible Melting Man had that beautiful art of that guy who was melting, gooey, melting people. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. I mean, there's nothing, that's all American. That's wholesome. That's what America is about, melting men. So anyway, I was seduced by it, You watch the film, you realize just what a piece it is, right from the beginning, with the whole star field and, the cheap stuff. I never could wrap my mind around the fact that this Incredible Melting Man is a NASA astronaut, important guy, and he's come home with this horrible illness because they were around the rings of Saturn, and they contracted this horrible radiation illness, which killed off his entire crew except him. And he's getting stronger as he melts, you know. I love that. Sometimes I just wander around and say, I'm getting stronger as I melt. But getting back to what I was saying, I never understood why the hospital is so sparse. You know, you've got one military official who's going down there because they want to keep it secret, you know. It strains the credibility. I mean, the melting man is a bit of a strain on the credibility right from the beginning. Okay, the premise is a wee bit far-fetched. But as a kid, I could never wrap my mind around it. You've got one guy, Bird Benning, Dr. Ted Nelson, you know, wandering around after this guy, you know, and to me was, you know, and the black doctor who looked kind of like Austin Stoker vaguely at the beginning, who's not Austin Stoker, but he looks like Austin Stoker. So he may very well be Austin Stoker. He's not, but I like to pretend he is. I mean, in some ways it delivers. I mean, there are some shocks, there are some thrills. I mean, towards the end, when we get into night, I think the first half of the film drags because we're basically watching a guy wander around, melt, and kill people to get human cells. I mean, that's okay, that's the gimmick. You know, he's got to kill people to replace the cells that are melting away, and he gets stronger as he melts, quote unquote. You never really see how he ingests the cells. He never really works. You basically just see there's this big effect, and actually it's part of the cover. There's three heads. You see this guy rip the head off of a fisherman, and he throws it in the water. There's an incident where he plays peekaboo with these three children who are playing, and they get scared of the melting man, and it's just kind of plotting and pointless. But meanwhile, we're watching the melting man. We're watching that incredible Rick Baker effect, which is really it's nothing more than a series of masks, really. I mean, it's a kind of a letdown, but they're very cool masks, though. You look at it, and I think even in this issue somewhere, Rick Baker was complaining that the director had put all this goo on his masks, and that the end sequence where the Incredible Melting Man melts down. I'm sorry, spoiled it. But that end sequence was just, he envisioned something far more elaborate, and they ended up just in the middle of the night slagging on, you know, Karo syrup blood onto this thing, you know, Methocel, and would just drip, you know, and just trying to goo something up, and it wasn't as impressive as he'd envisioned the sequence. But his masks in the film are very good, and you see him, there's made the Starlog cover, Rick Baker with his masks, the gloves, because there's an Incredible Melting Man has these incredible bony skeletal melting hands too. It's a great film. I mean, you know, you've got Alex Rebar, you've got Bird Benning, I think Jonathan Demme, future director Jonathan Demme shows up for a little cameo there. They always make something of that. Oh, Jonathan Demme. You know, like it adds some kind of credence to people melting, you know. But great, you know, it had such kid value, you know. It has that Melting Man covers. I found there's a cult of people who have the Super 8 version, and they have the adaptation, the novel adaptation, and they have you know, all these stuff like this issue of Starlog, and they have all the photos and the press stills and the lobby cards, and you know, this film went big. You know, I believe it was distributed by AIP here and other countries. I mean, it broke. It was pretty big, you know, for a Melting Man film. And it had some, I don't know, I mean, the beautiful, you know, saturated stills of Rick Baker's makeup, which I loved. I don't know, somehow in my mind I draw comparisons between that kind of garish, beautiful art and some of the art which came, this still art material which came from Dawn of the Dead, you know. So I saw the Starlog, and then I eventually found there was a video store in Pensacola, Florida, Alfalfa Video, and I found a copy of The Melting Man. I found the Vestron release, or Orion, and rented. This was a little early 90s, late 80s, and I rented it, and there was something on the Orion release which was about on the box, and the box is just a black box with a still of the Melting Man. There was another box which was like that Vestron put out, which was a weird version. It was like a funky illustration of the Melting Man on the cover, and it was just really very very bad. It's probably the worst piece of cover illustration that this film has had. But then Orion re-released it, and it was something about the stereo soundtrack on the cover or something. As far as I know, the film's always been mono. So anyway, I watched it. I was disappointed. I saw the Mystery Science Theater version of it a few years ago, and actually today I just rewatched part of that, and before I wanted to record this, and it's okay. It's okay. I'm a little bit ambivalent towards Mystery Science Theater these days. I think so many great films. On one hand, it gives exposure to people who usually wouldn't see a Ray Dennis Steckler movie or Phase 4. Was that one? Phase 4 or Phase 5? Who wouldn't see like a Saul Bass, experimental ant film, or an adaptation of Hamlet or something. So it gets or Squirm, so it gets the films out there. But on the other hand, it's I don't think Danger Diabolik deserved to be lampooned in such a manner. And also, Diabolik is like, it's almost like making fun of Plan 9. It's so camp and out there all by itself that it's kind of that was a really bad. I think that was maybe the worst acquisition in the Mystery Science Theater's history. So I wasn't too great. There was some. I mean, there were some good lines in the Mystery Science Theater version of Tim, but overall not that great. So we had the original Vestron cut copy, which I've never seen, right, with the horrible cover art, with effects by Rick Baker on the front. I remember that. I saw that in stores and never rented that. And then we had the Vestron version, which is the close-up of the monster, of the Melting Man, on the cover, and which I saw. It was the first version I saw. And then we had recently the Midnight Movies. MGM re-released it with a nice garish cover of the Melting Man. Probably the best video cover. And I haven't seen that one. What I have seen is the MGM broadcast version of it. I've seen it on cable a few times, and I have a copy of that. And it's a very good. I'm not sure if it's the same transfer as VHS, but it's a very nice, colorful, beautiful transfer of the film, mono. But very bright, colorful, and the incredible finale. I mean, I think the finale is just where you've got, people in that industrial area where they're going off, and where the Melting Man, falls off or throws the guy off the ledge, and he explodes into the power lines. I mean, that's a beautiful shot, and very well photographed. Very 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 good night for night cinematography there. So that's if you ever see it on cable, just pick that up. That's great. And it was released, I think CMV or somebody put it out on PAL DVD, and it has the MGM logo at the front, and it is essentially the MGM print. I mean, I had that copy too, and I kind of do an A/B, and as far as I can see, they're very very similar. I think they're the same, except with the PAL version, there's some ghosting and stuff. And so, I mean, if you can't find the cable version, you get that one. It's fine. But the cable version that's been floating around and that is on cable, of course, is good. Great soundtrack. I love the score for this film. It's just, there was some talk of this film being released by Synapse, Don May Jr.'s company, a few years ago. And I think they explored it with the producer, who they got the rights from. Quickly found out that the producer didn't have the rights to the film, that MGM had the rights. I mean, MGM released it on VHS. Synapse dropped it, and now it's in MGM's court, which makes sense because, the PAL version has the MGM logo. The broadcast version is licensed from MGM, and according to Don May Jr. in a recent internet forum posting, MGM has all the original soundtrack and print materials. I mean, which is obvious because the version, the broadcast cable version, is just beautiful. It really looks beautiful. DVD, I think, would be even better. It's probably some kind of high def, down convert. So the bottom line is great poster art, incredible cover art, bit of a subpar film in the beginning, some nice scenes toward the end with some stock and slash type stuff with the Incredible Melting Man. I guess if you check your brain at the door, if you're a big fan of Rick Baker, you could probably get off on it, Well, there you go. There you go, the Incredible Melting Man. He's getting stronger as he melts. It was a fun little movie, a fun Monster Mask type movie, and just released by MGM on Burn On Demand DVD officially in this country. So if you want to, you can go ahead and check it out. And I encourage you to check it out if you can get it on Made on Demand through MGM. I'm sure it'll eventually go into streaming. In any case, I thank you for listening to Sci-Fi Showcase again, and have a wonderful day.